Partha Bose, Alexander the Great's Art of Strategy, the timeless leadership lessons of history's greatest empire builder. Embark on a journey through history as you unravel the strategic genius of one of the world's greatest empire builders, Alexander the Great. In Partha Bose's Alexander the Great's Art of Strategy, learn how Alexander's teachings influenced countless historical leaders and how these lessons can be applied in the boardroom and executive suites of today. Discover the impact of Aristotle's tutoring and the Socratic method, focusing on critical thinking, proper analysis, and moral implications. Gain insight into Alexander's military strategies and principles that revolutionized warfare and the world, and how these concepts can be effectively adapted to modern business operations.
Alexander the Great's enduring legacy. Alexander the Great's strategic thinking has influenced leaders throughout history. Trained by Aristotle using the Socratic method, Alexander combined the broad knowledge of the fox with the wisdom of the hedgehog to change the way generations have viewed and interacted with the world. His school produced some of history's greatest generals, who succeeded by applying critical thinking and problem analysis to smart strategies and tactics. The Greek poet Archilochus famously wrote that, "The fox knoweth many things, the hedgehog knows one great thing." Alexander the Great was one of the few who could claim to combine the knowledge of the fox with the wisdom of the hedgehog. Trained by Aristotle using the Socratic method at an extraordinary school that also produced some of history's greatest generals, Alexander left an enduring legacy that still shapes the world today. Alexander was not only a warrior and conqueror but a strategic thinker who influenced leaders through the ages. His training under Aristotle emphasized critical thinking and problem analysis and encouraged consideration of the moral implications of decisions. Alexander's strategic thinking was revolutionary, revealing how a smaller force could overcome a larger one through smart strategies and tactics. This insight has influenced generations of leaders, including Julius and Augustus Caesar, Mark Antony, Hannibal, Napoleon, George Washington, Robert E. Lee, Ulysses S. Grant, Erwin Rommel and, more recently, Norman Schwarzkopf. Alexander's school also spawned some of history's greatest generals, including Ptolemy, who served Alexander as one of his generals and established an empire that ruled Egypt for some 300 years. Seleucus Nicator, another general for Alexander, later created the Seleucid Empire that ruled most of Asia. Alexander's legacy lives on in the executive suite and boardrooms of today, with leaders still drawing on the lessons he mastered. His strategic thinking has changed the way generations have viewed and interacted with the world, making learning about his ideas and actions akin to drinking from the original fount of knowledge about strategy and tactics. Principles of warfare. Philip and Alexander revolutionized warfare by advancing key principles that are still relevant today. They discouraged frontal assault and relied on maneuver and intelligence to defeat larger foes. They also emphasized the importance of strategy in deciding what not to do. Additionally, they believed in capturing enemy cities strategically, even if not interested in controlling them, to attain larger goals. In the U.S. war against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, the capture of cities like Herat and Mazar-e-Sharif positioned the U.S. to capture Kabul. Alexander was sensitive towards different cultures, a trait uncommon among rulers, thanks to Aristotle's guidance. The book explains how these principles can also apply in business, where strategic decisions and timing are critical to success. Succession planning for corporate leaders. In the book, the authors use the example of Alexander and his father Philip's sudden death to emphasize the importance of having a clear succession plan for corporate leaders. The key takeaways are to look ahead and appoint leaders in advance, clarify roles, assure transparency, and set the tone immediately. Successful transitions require a clear understanding of each person's role in the handoff, and transparency about the succession plan. Incoming leaders should set the tone for their leadership right away to avoid hampering their leadership ability. Alexander's noble leadership. Alexander the Great was an empire builder who exhibited noble traits that set him apart from other conquerors. He believed in commanding respect without engendering hatred and recognized the value of having today's enemy as a future ally. To that end, he strictly forbade pillaging by his troops. Alexander always led from the front, willingly undertaking tasks that he demanded of his soldiers. He charged into battle, even in the deadliest fighting, and rushed to the aid of any comrades in need, regardless of rank. After defeating his archrival Darius, Alexander heard the anguished cries of the vanquished general's family. He went to them, offering solace and promising to protect them from harm, a vow that he kept. Alexander's leadership exemplified nobility and empathy, demonstrating that it's possible to be a successful leader without sacrificing one's humanity. The leadership lessons from Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was a successful leader who knew how to motivate his troops and inspire their loyalty. He understood the importance of trusting his colleagues and was skilled at connecting personally with his soldiers. Alexander positioned himself as a liberator rather than a marauder and always gave decent burials to enemy troops. However, his tendency to become increasingly intolerant of anyone who disagreed with him led to the death of his friend Clitus and undercut his moral authority to lead. The lesson for organizations is to create an environment where questioning and criticizing accepted practices is encouraged rather than punished. Alexander the Globalizer. Alexander the Great's systematic expansion strategy provides insights into successful globalization. His approach involved avoiding wars of attrition, earning converts instead of killing them, and encouraging pluralism and local talent. He would leave reliable local officials in position rather than unnecessarily changing them. His motivation was always to signal people not to resist, whether through kindness or cruelty. To succeed in globalizing, Alexander's strategy is to map a systematic plan, link each goal, and follow his footsteps. The importance of succession planning. When a strong leader is gone, a clear plan for succession must be in place. Alexander the Great's lack of succession planning shows the importance of having a plan in place. The promotion of loyalists over talented individuals also leads to a lack of strong leaders. Organizations must encourage diversity and differing points of view to foster a healthy environment. At age 32, Alexander the Great fell ill and died without a succession plan in place. His troops were left to ask him who should succeed him, and his only reply was, "The strongest one." As with his father before him, Alexander left behind an organization with disorder in its affairs, a fundamental problem that many CEOs face when considering succession. Organizations often find it uncomfortable to think about losing their leaders, but leaving an organization without a clear succession plan is even worse. The legacy of a strong leader can be an organization that lacks leadership capacity, leaving no choice but to promote loyalists over those who demonstrate talent. This practice of promoting the wrong people leaves leadership ranks thin and leads to a lack of strong leaders in the organization. Encouraging differing points of view is crucial for growing an organization. Toward the end of his life, Alexander's generals went along with whatever he wanted, omitting the vital dialogue and debate that is part of a healthy organization. As the case of Alexander the Great proves, conformity is no substitute for diversity. To foster a healthy environment, organizations must encourage diversity in differing points of view.
In summarizing Alexander the Great's art of strategy, it becomes evident that some of the most successful leadership and empire-building techniques can be traced back to Alexander, and his exceptional ability to blend the wisdom of the fox and the hedgehog. Key lessons can be applied in today's business world, such as the importance of planning, strategizing, and transparent succession, the essence of diverse perspectives and encouragement of dialogue, and fearless, inspiring, and ethical leadership. Learning from Alexander's journey, his pitfalls, and his strengths can offer valuable insights that can shape decisions, strategies, and transformations in the contemporary corporate landscape.